think you used the word myth. It is a myth that the Biden administration used government to compel speech, private speech. You're on a lot, aren't you?
I'm not sure what the relevance of that is.
You're trying to be provocative on there, don't you?
Again, I'm not sure what the relevance
Well,
of this question is.
let me show you the relevance.
Welcome back to MAGA Capital, your trusted source for uncovering the political realities in Washington, D.C. Before we begin, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update on the stories that matter most. Today, we're analyzing a heated exchange during a Senate hearing where Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana confronted Professor Franks, a law professor and witness, over her controversial statements and writings. This interaction was nothing short of extraordinary, as Senator Kennedy skillfully challenged the professor's claims and rhetoric, exposing deep ideological biases. Let's break it down. Professor Franks entered the hearing with a clear agenda. She asserted that the Biden administration had not used government power to compel private speech, while accusing the Trump administration of doing so. Senator Kennedy, known for his sharp questioning, asked the critical question, was her objectivity compromised by personal political bias? Unsurprisingly, she denied it. However, her own writings and tweets seemed to paint a different picture. The senator pointed to a 2023 Law Review article in which Professor Franks described the Constitution as a tool of racial patriarchy. For someone tasked with defending and upholding the Constitution, such a statement is alarming. The Constitution is the foundation of American democracy, yet Franks characterized it as perpetuating racial oppression. This is not an interpretation grounded in law. It's an ideological narrative designed to divide. The professor didn't stop there. She also claimed that the Supreme Court's decision to affirm the right to self-defense in public was, in her words, an endorsement of white men's ability to terrorize and kill. This kind of rhetoric is not only inflammatory, but also detached from legal reality. It reflects a broader trend of left-wing academia framing constitutional freedoms in the most cynical and divisive terms. Senator Kennedy further highlighted a tweet from 2024 in which Frank stated, "The majority of Americans hate women more than they love democracy." Such a statement is both offensive and baseless, revealing a pattern of hyperbolic and provocative commentary. The senator rightly questioned how someone with such a divisive perspective could present themselves as an impartial expert witness. The discussion then turned to Frank's claim that the Supreme Court is guided by white male supremacy. When pressed on this, the professor avoided giving a direct answer. As an officer of the court, such accusations are not just inappropriate. They undermine the integrity of the judiciary. Senator Kennedy made it clear that words and actions matter, especially in a professional setting.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I apologize for having to miss the testimony of some of you, and I appreciate you coming today. Professor Franks, let me ask you, I listened to your and Ms. Hemingway's testimony and Professor Turley, so I got part of it. As I understand it, your position, Professor Franks, is that, I think you used the word myth. It is a myth that the Biden administration used government to compel speech, private speech, but that the Trump administration is doing that. Is that a fair characterization?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Do you think perhaps you're allowing your personal political beliefs to affect your objectivity here?
No, I do not. What is guiding my answers here is that I'm looking to see what the Supreme Court has said. You notice that in the testimony about the censorship industrial complex.
I got that part.
No, I just want to clarify.
No, but I've only got 5 minutes. Your answer is no, as I appreciate it. Let me ask you a couple questions. You wrote a law review article in December of 2023 for the New York University Law Review, and it was about the two cases, Bruen, Supreme Court case, and Dobbs. Remember that article?
Yes, I do.
Okay. In this article, you said, I'm going to quote your words, "Taken together, these two cases demonstrate that the Supreme Court has embraced the use of the Constitution as a tool of racial patriarchy, end quote. Did you say that?
Yes.
Okay. And then you went on to say, quote, when the Supreme Court declares that there is a constitutional right to armed self-defense in public, it openly embraces and promotes a culture that privileges white men's ability to terrorize and kill those that they perceive as threats, close quote. Did I read that correctly?
I believe so. Thank you for reading.
Okay. And did you also say in that article, I'm going to quote again, quote, by simultaneously expanding white men's right to kill and constricting women's right not to die, this Supreme Court, referring to the current United States Supreme Court, has turned the Constitution into a homicide pact as well, close quote. Did you write that?
That sounds like me.
Okay. In November of 2024, you tweet, don't you?
I'm not sure what the current terminology is for it, but yes, I am sometimes on the social platform that was formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah, you're on a lot, aren't you?
I'm not sure what the relevance of that is.
You try to be provocative on there, don't you?
Again, I'm not sure what the relevance
Well,
of this question
let me
is.
show you the relevance. On November 7th, 2024, from your tweet, here's one of your tweets at 2:41 p.m., quote, the majority of Americans hate women. The majority of Americans hate women more than they love anything, including democracy, close quote. Did I read that correctly?
I am not sure what this has to do with the subject matter of this
Did you
hearing.
say it?
I do not have those words in front of me. I probably said something along those lines, but
Yeah,
what is
you
the
said it.
relevance
Here
of that
it
to
is,
this
big as
hearing?
Dallas, right there.
Yes.
But your political beliefs don't impact your feelings about President Biden or President Trump.
I don't have feelings about either of them. What I have
Sounds
is
to me like you have your favorite feeling is anger. Let me ask you this. You issued another tweet. This was in May of 2022. You've just been tweeting up a storm. You said, quote, there's a reason why the conservative-dominated Supreme Court thinks the Constitution does not contain a right to an abortion, but is convinced that it contains an individual right to possess firearms. And that reason is white male supremacy, close quote. Did I read that correctly?
Is there a question in this?
Did I read that correctly? That's
Is there
my
a question that is relevant to this hearing?
Did I read that correctly? Do you really think that the United States Supreme Court, you're an officer of the court, is guided by white male supremacy?
I believe that the First Amendment prohibits the president
Did you
and other
say
state
that?
officials for punishing people for
Did
their
you honestly say that, Professor?
I
And you
believe
expect us,
that the First
as a
Amendment-
Democratic witness, to take you seriously? Are you kidding me?
I believe that you should take
You
the First
heard of
Amendment
curb your
seriously, sir.
enthusiasm? Here's my saying, curb my nausea.
I
Thank you.
believe that you
The
should take the
time
First
has
Amendment
expired. Thank
seriously.
you. Senator Durbin.
As Americans, it's disheartening to see someone attempt to undermine the Supreme Court and the Constitution itself with such inflammatory language. The Constitution is the bedrock of our freedoms, and it deserves the respect of those tasked with interpreting it. What we're witnessing here is not an impartial legal analysis, but an ideological attack on the very principles that unite us. Senator Kennedy summed up the hearing best when he said Frank's rhetoric was nauseating. This sentiment resonates with anyone who values the rule of law and respects the institutions that safeguard our liberties. The professor's remarks reflect a broader effort by the radical left to sow division and erode trust in our democratic institutions. This hearing served as a critical reminder of the importance of holding individuals accountable for their words and actions. Senator Kennedy's questioning was a masterclass in exposing bias and defending the Constitution. It's a fight that patriots across this country must continue. What are your thoughts? Do you agree with Senator Kennedy that this kind of rhetoric has no place in a professional setting? Or do you believe Professor Frank's comments were justified? Share your perspective in the comments below. Remember, the fight to preserve our values and freedoms is ongoing. Stay vigilant, stay informed, and continue to stand up for the principles that make America great. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video to help spread the message. Thank you for watching MAGA Capital, and we'll see you in the next video.